Alright, YouTube. I'm Philip Saponaro, and I'm gonna start making a series on chess games I play against my friends. I'm gonna start out with a long game, just to make sure it's high quality, and then probably devolve into me playing blitz chess and telling you guys my thoughts and stuff. So my rating on chess.com, it says is 1716. That's because I never play long games on chess.com, really. Mostly because I think people cheat all the time. But I'm playing my friend James Rook, and I know he doesn't cheat, so I'm going to play a bunch of long games against him. USCF, I'm around 2100, so don't be scared of the rating there. You know, I do know what I'm doing somewhat. Sure, I'll do a bunch of really stupid stuff throughout this series, but you can probably learn something from me if you're anywhere under 2000, maybe even higher. So we'll see. We're playing Sveshnikov Sicilian. That's what we always play against each other. So I'm just gonna blast through these opening moves here. Maybe in another video I'll explain exactly what's going on, because there's a lot of theory here we're just going past. There's a lot of different choices, and we play the same thing every time we play, so just get to the good stuff, I think. See what his preparation has gotten to this point. So we just played a game the other day, which I won. So he's probably booked up a little bit more, which makes me a little bit scared, but I kind of see what I want to see what he has. Okay, he's going to play f5, because otherwise I'm going to play knight e3 and then I clamp down and he'll never play f5 ever again, and then black is just lost positionally, so he's got to play f5 here. I'll just pre-move it, taking it. Oh, on the other end, James Rook is recording his game too, so after the game we can compare our thoughts. Right now I'm not analyzing anything, I'm just going through my book. I'll tell you when I get to the end of my book, and then in another video, like I said, I'll step you through the book I know, and maybe we can examine some lines. Now, lately he's been playing rook a7 here. Maybe he'll play something different. Nah, I doubt it. The line we've been playing lately is rook a7, a4. He plays b4, which I'm not entirely convinced is that great of a move, but he's been playing it repeatedly. I mean, it just seems to lose a pawn. I don't really understand why I know why he does it. He does it so that after I take with my c pawn, then he can play e4, and then my b pawn's hanging, and his bishop's got this open diagonal. It's not blunted anymore by the c pawn. But I've turned him off to even playing e4 because I've whooped him so many times with it. So now he's not even doing that plan, and it looks like it just loses up as a pawn. And actually I've won a few games by pushing that pawn. So it's not just theoretical extra pawn, it's very practical. So yeah, what he's doing right now is he's thinking if he should play the same thing we always done and get whooped that way, or is he going to try something new and get whooped that way? I hope he plays knight e7, because that loses instantly. In fact, I got to play that in the state championship earlier this year, and got to play that move. There's a neat tactic you'll see if he plays that. Oh, I should mention that I am the Delaware State Chess Champion. So that's another reason you should listen to my channel, which apparently is just starting today, so it's my first time talking to YouTube. Making a video ever, for that matter. Yep, sure is fun waiting for him to play Rook A7. I guess I could talk about other lines he has that might happen. He might play E4, another main line we've played a lot. He hasn't played in a while, but maybe he'll go back to it. Goes E4, Knight F4. It's an in-between move hitting his bishop. He has to do something with the bishop because my threat is more gooder than his threat. So we'll play bishop F7 probably, and bishop C2 with my bishop. And then I think he plays queen D7. And then I like to play bishop B3. And then you get a whole game out of it. I don't really want to speculate on that, because it's just too many moves. Another line he might do is king H8. That's another reasonable move. Just to prepare, you know, a rook G8 at some point. Go for a kingside attack. Also, it gets out of the way of checks on H7 and the B3 to G8 diagonal, which happens a lot actually. More often than you'd think. So those are the three things I'm looking for here. Rook A7, king H8, and E4. Or if he plays knight E7, you get to see some fireworks. Because knight E7 is awful. Just awful. Actually, compared to him, I'm pretty booked up. Like, I know these lines and all their variations, like 20 to 25 moves deep. And I know a lot of places where you can go wrong, like knight E7. I know the tactics to get you if you do the wrong move. So he likes to analyze for like 10-15 minutes and go for all the options, and usually I'm just sitting here kind of waiting for him to decide. So in the meantime, let's go look at pictures of cats on Reddit. It's what I normally do when I got nothing else. I mean, I already went over all the lines you could possibly do, and that was mostly just for you people on the internet. Man, I don't want dead air. That'd be awful. This one might be a cat. Let's see what we get here. Oh, the cat sees a mouse. That's sad. Ooh. There's an angry cat. Those cats. So YouTube, I might have cut out a bunch of this video. I'm not quite sure yet. So I ended up just browsing Reddit and looking up videos and cursing into the microphone for some reason. But Truxton took like 15-20 minutes to make his move, and I think I already explained. You know, the three possible choices were rook A7, king H8, and E4. So he's chosen the move I thought he would choose, which is like the move he always plays, rook A7. And so I followed up A4. He's going to play B4, because that's what he always does. And I take it, and I'm just up a pawn. So I think I'm better already. Because his plan is normally to play E4. E4, and then you're hitting my B pawn. It's opening up the dark squared bishop, which is, I think, the right plan here. So I play this in-between move here. He's got to move the bishop because it comes with a fork on top of it. So now I have to move my light squared bishop. The only reasonable place is C4. Because, for one, I want to trade off these light squared bishops, because he has a lot of holes in the center on light squares. well, they would be holes if the bishops are gone. And especially this d5 square. And e6. Okay, they're all pretty good. So yeah, I really want to trade them off. I'm not even considering other moves, because that's just strategically the right move. So, I mean, unless that loses to some tactic, which it doesn't. I mean, you can see that the only thing that can attack it is the knight. I just take. So, I mean, and the only other response is him taking. But again, there's no real tactic here. So after knight here, probably he'll take. Probably takes. He can't push in the center, obviously, because it just take it. So he probably played bishop takes here. And he didn't do that, of course. Alright, so instantly I'm looking at two possible moves here. One is bishop takes, forcing him to recapture with... I'm pretty sure... Well, you can't recapture with the a7 rook, because then he gets forked. But of course he doesn't get forked because there's a knight there. Okay. So none of that made any sense. Just ignore me. In fact... Yeah, what am I even talking about? Yeah, there's a knight here. Okay. Yeah, my other candidate move is going to be that, but that means that he just takes it. One possible move is knight here. Hitting this bishop. The bishop that's protecting this guy. That's kind of sweet. And notice this is... Knight to h5 is okay, because this is pinned to the king. No. Yeah, I'm out of book, by the way. I was out of book when he played that move. Or out of preparation, I should say, because I don't even know if this is a book, but I have studied this line. And up to this move. With Fritz on a board, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so knight h5, bishop's gotta maintain contact. So the moves are bishop h8 and bishop to e5, bishop to h8. I don't see anything like super special. So, and also here is kind of annoying. So I don't see anything special after knight h5. Because he has bishop h8, bishop e5. So, yeah, in fact, it's probably bad news bears after bishop e5 and then his queen's gonna come over and all that crap happens. So, this knight is like super annoying. Bishop takes, rook takes. And then knight to c2, hitting this knight, because like I said, the knight's super annoying there. If he takes, I have this fork, in between fork. Not sure if that helps. Because after queen f6, I take here. He'd probably ignore playing in between move first. Right, so takes and then knight c here. And takes. I like my position there because of his holes in the center. And I'm up a pawn. So that might be good. Another interesting move is knight takes here, knight takes f5, knight... No, and when I said interesting, I mean really stupid, because he takes my bishop. I was looking at forks, and that doesn't make any sense. But you gotta look at more moves than you initially start out with, because you could have had a bad candidate move or missed some candidate moves. So I like to look at captures. I like to look at knight takes. So I mean, it looks like bishop takes is the right thing to do. Another interesting option is queen to h5, because taking advantage of this pin. But after I trade, I mean, I'm not even putting enough pressure here to do anything. He's got 2 rooks and the king there. So I think the best option well, nothing's forcing me to take this bishop. Would I rather take there and let his rook come? Because it is developing his rook, sort of. Or would I rather him displace my knight? Because I kind of liked it playing that hole. Yeah. Another option is rook c1, going on the open file. It's a good thing to do in general. Not sure if I should do that plan with bishop takes f7 and knight c2 first. Or should I? Oh, you know what he likes to do a lot of times is play knight to f3. It's really annoying. Check with, on top of having his queen on h4 and bishop on e5, so I gotta watch out for that whole stupid line eventually. Oh, another option is knight to e2, trying to trade off this guy. Where can he go after knight e2? He probably takes. Knight queen takes, and then no, that might be good. Knight e2 bishop takes, maybe? Because he has that capture. And knight takes. c4, and then knight takes e2. I don't know, he's placing all my knights in that one. I'd rather not do that. But then again, I don't know what I'm doing. Why do I play chess? Okay, I'm kind of using a lot of time, so I'm going to do the bishop takes f7. Rook a takes f7. And then knight c2. And then he'll most likely play knight takes, because knight b3 gets himself trapped. And don't want to get trapped. Or retreats, but that would be admitting that knight d4 is wrong, so he'd probably take it. And then I'd recapture. He'd follow with bishop e5. Probably. No, he can't, because he has to deal with that fork. Yep, he would have to deal with the fork. So then I can bring my queen in and my rooks and stuff, so I like that plan. Yeah, bishop takes, rook takes, knight c2, knight takes, queen takes, and then I'm going to bring my queen up to c4, pinning the rook, pairing knight e6, hitting this pawn, bring my rooks over. It'll be just, it'll be a party. Just make sure one more last time that knight b3 gets met with rook a3, and then the knight's trapped. And gotta make sure one last time that his knight f3 is no good. Knight f3 takes. Is there any queen check? Knight retreats. f4. Queen block, and I'm safe. Okay, so that'd be stupid for him to do that. So I'm pretty sure this is all good. It's all sorts of good. One last move. He could possibly play it to knight c2. His bishop to e5. I take his knight, he takes my guy, but then he gets forked. So this looks good to me. Looks good to me. Oh wait, my knight moved from the line where he played that. Crap. Messed it up in my head. It's knight f3 takes, queen check, knight back, f4. Oh, but I have a pawn here, dude, so I can play... I can just ignore him. f4 doesn't even make sense. That whole calculation I did in my head a second ago didn't make any sense. It's... knight check takes, check, block with the knight. You'd push it, but I have these pawns here, so... These pawns here, so they're blockading him from coming in. My queen's guarding it, so like it's fine. He doesn't have enough in that situation. Oh, and even afterwards, I can bring my other knight in. Even as a sacrifice, because I'd be able a piece to protect, so... Oh, and back to e1, guarding that knight. Dude, that's just doesn't make sense. That's sacrifice. But you gotta kind of look at that sacrifice. Because it is a quick way to die. If it works. But it doesn't, so he's gonna have to... gonna take there. Right. Good, good, good. All my bases are covered, even after I moved. Retroactive analysis. Don't do that. Kinda, calculate better than I just did. But I like my position. He doesn't have the light squared bishop, which is one of his great pieces in this opening. And so what happens when you don't have a light squared bishop is I take control of the center of d5 and e6 squares with forks with the knight, or always a possibility, pins with the queen. It's just not fun for black. And I think that's what's going to happen in this game. If he even survives long enough, I have all these pawns on the queen side that will just roll on down. And remember, I'm up a pawn here. So, not only do I think he's worse in position because he's lacking the light squared bishop to protect his squares, giving me lots of possibilities, but he's down a pawn to boot, so... Do 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 do. And another one bites, and another one bites, and another one bites the dust. Do do do. Yeah. Alright, this is super fun, watching him calculate the thing I just said out loud. Because he's gotta play it. See, that's probably why I'm pretty good at Blitz, is... I pretty much figured out what he had to do. In what, like 3 minutes? I used on my clock? Something like that? Alright, I remember. Meanwhile, he's going into like a 5-10 minute thing. And I know the way he does it is he like picks a list of candidate moves and then goes through each one by one, kind of in a systematic way. Which is a good thing to do, I guess. But he kind of gets lost in just those 3 moves or 4 moves or whatever he picks. It doesn't consider other unintuitive looking moves. Like I like to look at all possible captures and checks, and so you see me looking at like random sacrifices that don't make any sense at all. Because usually the brilliancy that wins a game is one of those. Usually you could have ended the game 20 moves earlier if you just looked at one of these stupid looking moves that really turned out to not be stupid. They turned to be brilliant. And you get a brilliancy prize and $1 million. Worldwide fame. And in the history books people say, look at that game by the brilliancy that Phil did. But in this situation, like, I'm attacking his knight more than it's being defended. It's gotta move. Like, there are no captures or threats by any of his other pieces, so he's gotta do something with the knight. And if you just look at all 4 possible moves of the knight, and when I say possible moves, I'm like excluding like knight to b5, of course. But you know, knight f3 is a big one to look at because it's check and it's supported by a pawn, and his queen can come over. Gotta look at knight takes c2 because that's a capture. Knight to b3 because it threatens my rook with tempo, but it just gets himself trapped. And then retreating. If he retreats, I've made some progress. And he's gone backwards. So, in fact, he can't even retreat or he gets forked. So it's another reason. So, basically, the only reason we'll move here is knight takes c2. Any threat against... I should mention this again, because I think I went over it in my head, and I don't know if I said it out loud. Any threat against my f4 knight, if he succeeds in taking it, for example with bishop to h6, bishop e5, queen g5, queen h4, no matter what threat he makes, I capture his knight, and after he recaptures on f4, I fork him. So, like I said, having that bishop gone gives me a lot of possibilities that weren't there before. Truxton sure does like to trade that early. I mean, sometimes it's forced. There's nothing you can do about it. And I think in this line it might be forced. Yup. There's a 15-minute think by Truxton for like only one possible move. Right? Because I like won over the whole thing twice. Yeah. Guess it's back to... yes, he did the move I thought he would. Okay, I'm probably going to edit this a bunch, because I keep going to Reddit and I just realized that, like, most of the screen is cut off for Reddit, because I have it fitted to this chess screen. But I did a bunch of analysis on this knight c2, which I hope I don't edit out. Oh well. Basically, Truxton has used like 15 minutes on that move when I was like describing that there was really only a few moves you should be looking at, and you can easily get rid of most of them. So I think that move should have only taken like 3 minutes to think it out. So Truxton says, why not e6? I went over that in my head. Knight e6, then he has to move his queen. Queen to f6, I think. Or, sorry, yeah, queen f6 is a good move. Queen somewhere. Probably f6. f6. Then he can play, I would play knight takes f8 probably. And then he could play an in-between where knight takes b4 because my knight's trapped. So there's no way to save my knight.
Right. Because his queens and rook cover that whole area. And there's no way for my queen to come in, so. He's saying knight e6, knight takes rook, knight takes queen, rook takes knight. Wait, what? He would give up his queen? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That line doesn't make any sense, trust me. I just get, like, all of his pieces. I don't understand. I would just play knight. Knight takes queen, knight takes rook, queen takes knight. I just own everything. I'm gonna ignore that. Maybe he'll show me later how that makes sense. Knight e6. Knight takes rook. Knight takes queen. Rook takes, queen takes knight. And he's got 2 rooks for the queen. And I would have a knight for the bishop, and I'd be up a rook. So I'd be up on pawns and up a rook. And somehow he thinks that's okay because the d pawns pass. Well, I'm pretty sure that 6 points of material better be able to stop one pawn from moving forward slightly. So, yeah, I didn't even consider that. Just letting my knight eat everything. That line doesn't make no sense. I consider knight e6, queen here, takes, and then he's okay because he's controlling the light squares. But knight here, knight e6, queen f6, knight takes 8, and then he plays this in between knight takes b4, which I'm pretty sure is okay. Because my knight can't do any more damage, really. I guess I can play knight takes h7. Maybe play king takes. That's probably an okay line. For me, what do I get? I get a rook and a pawn. And he would get the knight and a pawn and a knight. So he comes up on top in that whole line. So, yeah. Queen was the only move that makes sense, I think. Oh, it's my turn. Well, that's just fancy. Okay. So he's played queen to f6. So, okay. He's not really threatening queen takes b2 because my knight gets in there. I think. Let's see. Queen to c4. Queen takes b2. Knight to e6. Rook moves somewhere, like e8. And then knight to g5. And I just eat your rook. You got 2 guys on it. I like queen c4. It pins the rook. It's the a pawn. And I don't think his queen takes b2 is a threat. Please notice that knight h5 is not really a fork because he plays queen takes b2, and then after I take his g pawn, he can recapture with the queen. So I'm gonna play either that or one of the rooks to the open file, but I think queen c4 is better. Mostly because I think Trefson's going to play queen takes b2, and then I'll just win instantly. And if he doesn't play that, I don't know what else he can play. Like, what was the point of that move otherwise? This is a serious threat. He's going to have to move one of his rooks to either d8 or e8. Probably e8 to stop me from coming in, and then I can move my rooks to the open file, or I can take the pawns for free. I have a lot of options, and that's as far as I need to calculate it, because when I have 2 or 3 good options that look pretty good, you can pretty much stop and rely on the fact that later down the road you can do some good things. So, queen c4 looks good. Okay, my next move is going to be... It's probably going to be rook to d1 or c1. You know, some rooks in. I'm going to bring my rooks in. There's... Yeah. Okay, so he did this, and I'm pretty sure I win here, so I'm going to play... I'll just look at it again. Knight to e6, hitting this rook. Can he ignore it? Wait. The only thing that can do anything is this queen, and the only capture it has is queen takes a1, but then I play rook takes a1, bishop takes, knight takes, and he's left with nothing. So, that'd be winning for me. So he can't do anything else. He has to move it, so he's going to move it probably here. So knight guards here, queen guards here, maybe here. b8 makes sense. This is a serious threat, so I'm gonna... Maybe he needs to... So 96 looks like it wins to me. Oh, wait. No, yeah, it looks good. I was gonna say maybe he can play queen to c3 or something, hitting my queen, but I just take. Yeah, I just take, bishop takes, rook over, hitting the bishop. Bishop moves somewhere, I take his rook. Bishop doesn't move, he protects it with the rook. Then... Then I can hit it with the knight. And there's no way to guard the rook back here, because it's pinned. So, good thing I looked at that, because that was actually a legitimate try. So it looks like 96 wins. Pretty sure. It wins an exchange. Which should be enough, because like any attack he's going to have is going to rely on both his rooks and bishop coordinating on g2 and h2. Like he's going to have to play bishop to e5 and have his queen over hitting h2 and his rooks on the g file, which when you're down in exchange, that's kind of hard to do. So, pretty sure I'm completely winning when I win this exchange. Moreover, a lot of his pawns kind of hanging backwards, especially with the weaknesses in the center. I can play... Yeah, I can just go pawn hunting with my queen after winning the exchange. So, looks like it's game over. I think he used up way too much time thinking about knight takes c2. You know, it's because he was calculating that whole stupid queen stack line that didn't really make any sense. So I'm thinking that Truxton needs a better pruning method, I guess. Because I have a lot of methods to just like instantly cut stuff from what I'm looking at. Either that or just process it faster. I don't know. Because he spent a lot of time on that move looking at the queen sacrifice, and I spent like a minute dismissing it. And I'm pretty sure I'm right. So we can verify with a computer afterwards. Okay, so he played a move I didn't really look at, and I don't really care. We play knight to g5, hitting his stuff. he's gonna have to play rook to e7 to at least guard it. Then I'll just take it. And the good thing is, after he recaptures, I can take his a6 pawn. And then I'll have a pass pawn that will just go. Yeah, so line will go rook a7, knight takes f7, rook takes f7, queen takes a6, d5. Oh, well, d5 doesn't work because I can play queen to a8 check, pick it up. So he would probably have to play queen takes b4 instead of d5. That guards the b1. And it also hits my guy. But then I can just play rook to b1, or even rook to c1. Even rook to c1 and bring my rook to c8 and just gang up on his king. Yeah, because once he's down in exchange, my rooks will be able to overpower his back rank. Because notice, he's got no pawns on his 8th rank or 7th rank. Wow, he didn't do the thing I thought he'd do. So if I take with the queen, then I'm guaranteeing I go to a winning endgame. If I take with the knight, he has to take with the queen. But then I can fool around with my queen somewhere. Go to winning endgame with the queen or without? Yeah, I'm gonna go to it without. I'm just gonna trade everything. Well, knight takes f7. He still has to. It still goes to an endgame, but lets me delay the thought one move. Actually, I like this move order better because I can play one of my rooks to the open file now. See, all I did was give myself more options. I didn't even calculate anything here. I just said, go to an endgame immediately, or give myself one more turn to decide. And just by giving myself more options, I'm able to play rook to c1 now. So basically, I'm going to force a queen trade because of this. It doesn't, because he can play d5. Ah, crap. It didn't work, so I'm going to have to take. Yeah, alright. Okay, so all 3 files look good to me. b1 supports me just jamming the pawn down. D file hits a pawn, but he can probably guard it, so I'm going to save this guy. And c8, and then I can come in on the C rank, the 7th rank, sorry. But I think this pass pawn is, well, if I play rook to b1, he'll play d5. He's just going to start pushing this pawn, because that's like his only possible pawn. But I'd like to notice 2 things about this. The pawn's queening square is on a light square, which he can't guard with the bishop. If I do push this pawn, my pass pawn, and I just keep going, it's going to end up here, and this rook is going to be tied to it. So there's literally no way to push this through, because there's no way to guard the square without the rook. So that leads me to believe that rook to b1 is stronger than rook to d1 stopping that. So I'm going to play that. So he's going to play d5 here. Guaranteed. I'm just going to push. And then he's going to push. Except mine's dangerous because it's supported by a rook. It ties down his pieces. His isn't supported, and his queening square is impossible to support while he's tied down. So that gives me all sorts of time later to bring my other rook out, bring my king out, and just eat his pawns. So that's how the game's going to end, by the way, if he doesn't time out before then. She doesn't usually. He's usually good with eyeing the clock, so that's probably how it'll end. Again, I didn't really calculate anything there, I just noticed some features of the position. So, that's a good way to save a lot of time, and to search for the best move. It's like I didn't have to pick like 3 or 4 candidate moves, and then go through each one to the end. I can just talk about the position in general, and let the position tell me what the right move is. So he played d5 like I said. Played b5. We're gonna get to this thing where we push. The very worst... No, he can't even do that. I was gonna say he could bring his king over to c7 and then eat my pawn. But that's not gonna happen because I have another rook to scare him away whenever I need to. Not much I can do to stop the pushing of his d-pawn, by the way. I mean, all the squares are supported up to d2. And it's going to take a while to arrange an f4, e3, d2. Moreover, it'll open up my rook. Give me stuff to attack. Let my king come out and that's it. Well, no, because there'll be a pawn on e3, but at least I have open files, I guess. It's down to 30 seconds. Calculating all the way to the end, trust me. Remember, this is 30-second increment, so he's probably not going to time out. So it's going to go d4, b6, d3. d7. And the great thing about this is I can play rook c1, rook f to c1, because this pawn isn't on d2 yet. And then I'm threatening to queen. So, let's see. Let's see how this goes. Rook to c1. He can't play d2, by the way, because then I just play rook to d1, and there's nothing that can support it other than the bishop. So I just lied. Never mind. So he can play d2. Okay. Rook c1, d2. Rook to c8. He can play stupid little... No, he can't. I was going to say he can play rook takes b7, which is a trick to get my rooks off the back rank, but it's actually... I recapture with check. So that would be game. So another option is rook c1, d2, rook here, d1 queen, rook takes, rook takes. We've just traded past pawns in that line. That's interesting. I don't see what else to do other than move the rook there. I don't want to be all passive and go to d2. So, rook c1, I think the best line for him is to trade past pawns. With d2, rook to c8, d1 queen, rook takes, rook takes. So, then what are the possibilities? Then, I mean, I'm up in exchange. He offered me a draw. Are you out of your mind, Truxton? So there we go. Rook c1. He's got a variety of moves here. He can move his bishop and attack. Bishop in the center. Bishop e5 might be okay. Guarding the rook in case I ever do play that. Right. But I'll just annoy it. I can play rook c5. He has to either move it or guard it. If he guards it, I can play rook to b6 check. Then his king has to go away. I take his rook. He pushes. I can get there in time. Putting my guy behind it. And if, yeah. So he would have to move after rook c. Oh, but if he moves, I take here with check. That's kind of annoying. So I'm going to start taking his pawns. Rook to b6, if he plays king here. Rook takes f5 if he moves the bishop anywhere. I think. I'll double check it, I got 23 minutes. But, like, if bishop to d6, for example, play rook takes, king to e5, rook to f4, hitting his pawn. If he plays d2, then rook takes, rook over. And I've won all of his pawns. It's just I would have to deal with that one pawn. But like I said, he can't queen it without getting his rook to c1. It's just impossible. With my two rooks on the board, I find that really hard to believe that he can do that. Especially with this b pawn still there. Yeah, you can't even ever move that. It's just not fun for him. It's down to 10 seconds. Two. He moved. Crap. Gotta play more chess. Sucks. Should I play rook to c8? Yeah, rook c8 just wins. Because if he takes takes b7, rook takes b7, d2, I can get back in time with rook to b1, and the game's over. So, let me just double check that. Rook to c8, rook takes b7, rook takes b7, d2. Yeah, there's no bishop move. Oh, there's bishop takes f2. Is that a trick? No, not really. Okay. So I looked at the check, and then my recapture, and his only possible check is that. Okay, so now I'm going to trade this rook. His bishop just has to sit there until his king comes over. In the meantime... Oh, and he can never win that pawn now, because it's protected by the rook, and it's on a light square. So I'm going to move my king over just to guard that the d1 square in case of shenanigans. And then I'm going to push my kingside pawns. Or, even better, you know what I might do is put my king on d1, and instead of pushing my kingside pawns, go pawn hunting with my rook. Because my rook just outpowers the rest of his army. So, I like that plan. Just guard the queen and square just in case of shenanigans. And then just do whatever you want with the rest of your army, because you just have more material. So that's the best plan. I've lost a game where I had more material, and I just went pawn hunting before I secured it. So it's best to secure the position with rook to king to d1. Because there's no way his pawns are getting through here. He would have to play f4, e3, which of course he does play right now. But like, they're dead. Even with connected pass pawns on d3 and e3, crap. I shouldn't have allowed that. I should play g3 first. I'm so stupid. I didn't think this was like a threat. Now it might be. Still, if I can get my king to d1, his best setup would be play e2 check, king to d2, and then he's got checks with a bishop. But I would take his d pawn. So he would need to guard the e1 square. But I have that covered with 2 pieces, so yeah, I don't think this is that big of a threat here. Okay, so he's going to push, of course. I'm going to play my king to d1. He has to push the e pawn because the queening square is the same as the bishop. Otherwise, there's no way to get through. But I have enough power to stop it. And I should have considered g3. I don't know why I didn't. Let's look. That should have been the first move I looked at. g3, f4 takes. Can't even recapture it. It'd be game over instantly. Oh, he went there. Okay, well now I can play king d2 and there's no way to come through. Or, even better, rook to b4, hitting his pawn in the center. If he pushes, I take, check, pick it up. I might do that. That'll demoralize him because he'll be out of pawns in the center then. And there's no tricks on this diagonal with the bishop because the bishop can't go there, so nothing to worry about there. This is game over. He'll resign after he realizes he loses his center pawns. e3 takes, take, check, king d7 takes, bishop takes, and then either take this pawn or fork him here. I'd have both my b7 and g2 pawns left, so there's no running low on material like the queen. So he'll resign shortly. Now I'm picking this one up with check, so he doesn't even get this for free. It's here and then I fork him, so and I cover it this way, so that wasn't that good of a choice. You know what, this pawn's dead. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Rook takes here. If he takes my b pawn, I'm gonna fork him here, or obscure him here, and just sack the exchange. Because this is a winning pawn endgame. Like I can just walk this down. Walk these guys down. And after rook takes, bishop takes, I could fork him here. Bishop moves somewhere. Then I'm guarding the pawn. Let me just verify this 2-on-1 pawn endgame is a win. I'm pretty sure it is. So I push the g pawn. Oh, I'm actually not that sure, but still I could fork him and just pick up that. I don't even have to do that stupid thing. I can play rook to d7 check, and then I would eat that. So this is game over. Either pawn he takes he gets forked. So game's over. He keeps offering draws. This is, oh no, I guess it's the same draw. Okay, so bishop takes h2. Ah, crap. Let me edit that out. Checking my mail in the game. Not too much things. I'm just gonna take on h2 and I'll be just pushing everything. Oh, that's neato, I guess. Oh, there's mosquitoes. They warn me. I'm gonna move my king to the center. Taking this guy is a win, by the way. Because I can move my king in front of the pawn and then move the pawn behind. So I can show you guys this theoretical win for me. See if he resigns or if he plays it out. It would be nice to see it. So I'm just gonna move my king to the squares up here, push them down as far as I can, and then start bringing them up behind. So known, like if you buy an endgame book, it's gonna be like the first chapter is gonna be on this endgame right here, and it's good to know that he says, because then you can sack that exchange like this and just end the game immediately, get to a book win. You don't have to play with any more complications, although it probably wouldn't matter here. I don't know if he's like doing some sort of opposition triangulation crap, but you don't really need that, because if you know that my king gets to g5, which it does here, this is a win. I'm completely in front of the pawn. So basically anything he does, I'm going to play king f4. Just going to pre-move it now. These are the only three choices. And two. These are the three choices I need. I don't know why you'd go that way. So, king to e7, king to g5, king here, king g5, king here, king h6. Basically, I push him and I get my position to where the kings are here, these two squares. Then I start bringing this guy up.
So, now I have this ready for my pawn to go. Okay, so he's gonna have to go to the either side now. The pawn up 2. Basically, he'll go to either side, bring up the pawn 2. He'll have to go back, bring up the pawn 1. Then he has to move out of the way again. So, king here, pawn up, then king out there again. And he resigned. Okay. Good game. And I'll end the recording. That was a good game. I think his main mistake, in summary, was... Well, first of all, I don't like that opening choice where he plays b4. But the real main... That might have been a mistake. Knight to d4. Because it allowed me to trade off these bishops, and then trade off his knights. Both of his annoying pieces. Give me complete control over the center squares. And then, I don't think queen f6 was that hot either. Because of this queen c4 move. Letting me gain up in the center in those squares. So, it was a good game.